Yo, my friends have never seen me cry. These don't count as crying tears.
I know.
These do not count as tears.
All right, so we're here for episode 2 of Burning Questions, brought to you by Zone Smelling Salts. They provided a great lineup of smelling salts that Angelica here is going to huff as we ask her our burning questions. So we were actually just talking a little bit about the name thing. I feel like I met her as AJ years ago, and I think the Strongman world knows you more as Angelica, and there's been some confusion about what you like to go by. So let's address that.
Yeah, so when I met you, AJ's like technically I like to call like my adult name because growing up all the way from like high school into college, like everyone knew me as Jelly. Like that was my nickname. I actually hated being called Angelica. I was like, don't call me Angelica. I used to hate it. And then so like it was so much my name, people didn't even know that my name was Angelica. It was just Jelly. And then I got to senior year and I was like, I don't know if it's professional. I wanted to go into like a professional setting and go into the corporate world. I was like, is Jelly going to be the nickname that I want my coworkers to call me? And AJ came about. Well, I won't give credit to who gave me that name because it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who gave it to me. But they were like, why don't you just go by AJ? And I was like, okay, yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So then that just stuck around until I came here, and on the sheet, when you start competing, it asks you, your name and then your nickname. And I'm like, I'm not going to give myself a nickname. I feel like AJ is like my name. I don't know. And then in the beginning, they didn't really ask any name. They were just like, what's your first and last name? So when they were announcing me like nationals and even these competitions, like the local ones, it was just Angelica Jardine because it's like, there's no nickname. And I didn't even know that we can put a name to go by. So when we actually started seeing a nickname option on the forum, I was like, I'm not going to, I want my nickname to be given to me based on the characteristics, I don't know, that I showcase or, nicknames should be given. I think,
I agree.
Right? Yeah. So I just left it blank. And then recently at this last Arnold, they were calling me Jelly on the Mark Henry and... Yeah, they started calling me Jelly, and I was like, what? Where the heck did they get that from? Like, I mean, not
that's what your code is for things.
Yeah,
right?
it is where my code, but I've never said call me Jelly. I mean, you can, but...
What do you prefer?
I prefer whatever I met you. So most times, I think AJ is just pretty simple, easy. But I'm starting to hate it a little bit because there's so many AJs and it's not a special nickname at all. So I'm waiting for it. I'm whatever until I get a cool nickname. Let's just say that.
You can call it whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah, as long as you're respectful.
All right. So thanks for being here for episode 2, one of the early guinea pigs of the podcast. We're going to have some fun. So I just want to give you the floor for a quick little elevator pitch on kind of what you've accomplished in the sport so far.
Yeah. So far what I've accomplished in the sport is I made it...
Strongman. I guess we should, if you don't know her, we compete in Strongman.
Yeah, Strongman. I made it as a pro Strongwoman, so I am a pro Strongwoman in the sport of Strongwoman. Damn it. Repetitive. Anyways. And I guess some of the things I've done is I've won 2023 America's Strongest Woman. I've won 2024 Arnold Classic Strongwoman Champion.
Just kind of one of the biggest shows that you can win. So it's a big deal. If you don't know, it's a big deal.
Yeah, other than that, I've competed at Rogue. That was really cool being a part of that lineup, being one of the first women in that Strongwoman lineup. And this last month, I got third at Strongman Woman Classic. Arnold champion.
You're doing great.
Yes. There's so many names that are around, okay?
She's really good. She's really good at the sport. All right. Yeah. All right, ready to dive into some questions?
Yes.
All right, starting light with the little one. So I'll ask you the question, and then you'll give it a sniff and give us your answer, okay?
Okay.
So don't open it quite yet. Try to keep the cap on.
See, that's how unexperienced I am with this.
Keep the vapors in, sniff, and then close it back up. Okay?
Okay.
So obviously you've had quite a rise in Strongman over the years. competing at, winning some of the biggest contests that we've got. But all things considered, you're fairly new to the sport in the grand scheme of things. What did you do before Strongman, and what do you think set you up for so much success early on in your career? You take a real smell.
No.
You weenie.
Look, I don't do these on a regular. I can smell it already.
Just breathe.
What I did, I mean, I really sucked at sports growing up. I did like very intramural in middle school. I don't even count that I really did sports because I went to a small high school that didn't have any sports. So I played like one season of baseball as like a 10-year-old or something like that. So I don't really count those, and even on those I sucked. The only sport I was decent at was diving. Just like the diving sport.
Cool.
Yeah. Is my nose bleeding?
No.
I've got 7 more of these.
Good start. No, you're not bleeding.
So as far as like my success, I think it wasn't. I didn't actually play a real sport until I did women's tackle football.
Oh, and how old were you when you did that?
I was 20 years old when I did that. Yeah, so I was an adult by then, and I don't think I was very athletic when I did that either. But I think that was a really good foundation. I mean, that was the first time like my friends that I'm friends with now, they were like, yo, you don't know how strong or powerful you are. And that was with me, and I was a very crappy football player. But I guess that was also the first time where I started accepting my size. That was the first time where I was like, oh, dang, it's sort of was cool to be a bigger person because people were like, oh, yeah, we have you to protect us or, protect our quarterback. So that was the first time I was like, oh.
How'd you get involved in that?
I was at a arts festival, and this lady just came up to me and was like, hey, have you ever played football before? I was like, no. And she gave me a flyer.
Cool.
And I'm always open to trying new stuff. Like, I do random things a lot on my own.
Yeah. Do you think you would have gotten involved in Strongman if you hadn't happened into playing football?
No, I think it all sort of like, I started Strongman, so I started CrossFit because I came out here and I didn't know anyone. I wanted to like make new friends, and I liked that. And so I did football because that's what, even what I do miss now is like playing for a team and that camaraderie. And in the off season, I get really good, get in shape for pre-season, and then the off season I would just fall off because I wasn't running or I wasn't going to practice and all of that. So one year I was like, you know what, I'm going to be really good next year. I want to get way better at this sport. So I was like, in the off season, I'm going to do CrossFit because I've tried it out when I was in Maryland for a little bit. I was like, and I think it'll keep me in shape for just the football season. Cool. So I went to CrossFit, and I did it. I puked my first session. I got Team WAD and got paired with like the most quickest cardio bunny there. So, anyways, I still finished that workout. So props to me, even though I thought about never coming back.
Is that Lake Washington?
Huh? Yeah, Lake Washington. Lake Washington. That was my first Lake Washington CrossFit. So, and then Nick there, he's the owner there, and he was doing a class one day. I think we're doing it was an overhead press, and I was like doing some press, a part of the WOD because that was part of the workout. And he was like, hey, you're pretty strong. You should come to Strongman class. And then, I went to Strongman class. I was like, oh, we don't got to do running in this class. And it was a super chill Strongman class, too. It was very, they were busting over beers. It was like they were doing these events. And that was the first time anyone was like, yo, you're freaking strong. I pulled a 405 deadlift. Didn't even know I was capable of that before.
Damn.
And after that, I was like, all right, this is pretty cool.
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. I did finish that football season. And then after that, I was like, all right, I need to decide. Do I want to do this or do I want to do this? And then I broke my finger in football. I was like, nah, I'm going to go.
That was a sign. That was a sign.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Leads into my next question a little bit. So, I've heard you talk about this a little bit before, and we've touched on it a little bit in the past. I think a lot of people, a lot of spectators, and even some athletes tend to look at people who are highly successful or highly accomplished in their sports and make comments about those people being like genetically gifted or naturally talented. So how does it make you feel to hear those things? And then what qualities do you think you possess outside of the physical that you think have helped you get to where you are today?
Dang, these are deep questions.
So you hold it like 4 inches away so you don't feel like you're Oh, it went into one? Yeah. That's the worst. Let the people see your reactions. Breathe.
That is so unhealthy.
It's fine. You're fine. I do it all the time and my brain is mostly okay.
Oh, this feels like torture right now. What the fuck did I sign up for? Oh, man, that's horrible.
You've never used it before, right?
No, I don't use these at all. I've done it this is probably the 4th time in my life now. Just who would those be those times? All right, so the question is, how do I feel about when people say that I'm genetically... I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know that I'm very fortunate to have some of the strength that I have. It's not normal for people to go and lift a 405 deadlift on their first time pulling something heavy. So I can acknowledge that part of me, but at the same time, I'm not... Like I said, I sucked at all other sports. I didn't do really good at sports. And it wasn't until football where I started to learn how to be athletic, started to learn how to, oh my goodness, how to use my power or, use the power. And so I think, you can't really... I think it's when people say you're lucky. People say you're lucky because they don't want to face the fact that, you could have had the same thing, too, had you worked for it. And they think that's all luck. So I think the same thing with genetics. People say, oh, it's all genetics. But yeah, genetics would only got me so far. It would have got me that 405 deadlift that I got. And then I literally went to go work my Amazon shift delivering packages. And my whole body was like, what the fuck did we just do? And you should never do that again. That was the first time I ever felt like my CNS. And I didn't even know what that was back then because I knew not a lot back then about lifting or anything. And my CNS was shot. And it was like, what the heck? And that could have been the reason for me not to go back to another strongman. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. I did that. Let's not do that again. So I think there's a mental capacity that you have to, I think maybe it's possibly born with, but I think over life and experiences that you have that drive or need to want to overcome these challenges or to challenge yourself. And I feel like genetics doesn't give you that drive or mental desire to do those things.
Yeah, it can give you the raw materials, but you still have to do something with them. It's I see you in here in the gym all the time. You work your ass off. Yeah, and the persistence and work ethic isn't genetic.
Yeah, and that's not genetic.
Yeah.
So, was there a second part? Because I don't remember anything else in that question.
Nope.
I think we should do whiffs from back here. if you want coherent answers going forward.
That's part of the fun of it. The point is that it kind of clears your brain. So that's the trick of the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
This one at least smells really nice. Oh. So
I think I'm sniffing them too hard or something.
I've considered making people wear nose strips to open up their nose even more.
Yeah.
I didn't hit you with that one though. All right, you ready? All right, so it's kind of interesting. You and I think, are both kind of known for wearing war paint, but obviously, the style and meaning and everything about it is very different. I've talked a lot about why I do it, but I think a lot of people don't necessarily know the story behind yours. So can you tell us a little bit about both the cultural significance and also what it means to you personally, the red circles that you do?
Okay. Fight it.
Power through.
I just don't understand how people lift after that. I'm going home. I'm not training after this.
Clears your head.
So the war paint, that actually started with me and Alyssa. So Alyssa Manu, she's one of my training partners. She's also someone. And we were going for Americas, and she was just like, we should really, especially going for the title America's Strongest Woman, we should really represent our culture because, one, there's not a lot of Polynesians, Pacific Islanders in the sport. So that was just one way. And so that marking is what they'll do when they're going and doing performances or dances. And like for us, when we go on that stage, it somewhat is like a performance. You know, we're going out there and we're showcasing our work that we've worked on or that we've prepared for. So that's sort of what that was. It's like a little bit of a, one, we're going out there to perform, but two, it's just a little bit of appreciating and giving, showcasing our culture on these platforms that we have available to us. So.
All right, take a breath.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I don't like, my friends have never seen me cry. These don't count as crying tears.
I know.
These do not count as tears. These are different.
All right, we got cotton candy up next. All right.
Yeah, do the question first.
All right, I'll speak slowly. Can regroup. So Strongman is clearly a huge part of your life, but it's not everything you do. I think a lot of high-level athletes in the sport are involved professionally in health and fitness in some way, but not everyone is. And I think it's really interesting when people have careers and like lives that are very different from the sport.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know you outside of Strongman, what do you do, both as a career and as just a person outside of competing?
So outside of competing...
Hey.
Oh.
Nice try.
Cotton candy. I actually hate cotton candy.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's the worst candy ever.
Oh, you got close to that one.
I did. Oh my goodness.
Zach will be very proud at how close you're getting your nose to these.
Are they not supposed to be that close?
You can.
I mean, I was doing it. I normally do it like this, but I really feel like my nose is about to bleed.
You're fine.
Let me know if it starts bleeding.
I'll let you know.
God dang, I like the shirt too. All right, what was the question?
What do you do outside of Strongman?
So outside of Strongman, for fun, I like to go paddleboarding. And when I say paddleboarding, like, I don't actually like to go paddle. I like to wade in the water paddleboarding. Like, I like to go out to the paddleboard with my speaker and my goodies and sit in the lake and sunbathe on my paddleboard. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's an active recovery day. So I'll, like, paddle out further and get some activity in and then use that as, like, my recovery day.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited with the sun coming out and it's starting to get beautiful out again. But for work, I am an IT. My technical title is IT business analyst for a dental manufacturing company. I work fully remote. My company is based out in Utah. I won't disclose the company, but it's really not that hard to find. And how did I get into that, or?
No, just kind of tell. Like, I think a lot of people just don't know what people do for work outside of the sport. So I think it's kind of interesting to hear what people do with their lives.
Yeah. If you ever worked at a CRM, I'm sorry, this is about to bore some of you guys. Because
someone will be interested.
Yeah. I know there has to be some nerds out there. Some IT nerds. So I went to, actually don't have a degree in IT at all. I went to college. I wanted to work in public admin, whatever. Actually, after college, I couldn't find a job. So I went to this coding boot camp, and I learned full stack development, C#, HTML, JavaScript, C#. Don't ask me to do it now. I don't remember. But I did at one point. That's how I got here. And got a job at Microsoft, and that's how I got out here to Washington. And I got contracted here. I was working for Microsoft for a little bit. And anyways, they were like, hey, you know all the stuff. You're going to learn this software. And that is Dynamics 365. So, yeah, if you've ever used a CRM, that's what I do, is I manage the sales app for my company.
Cool. Nerdy stuff.
Yeah. So if you need a cut from that question, give them the timestamps. Like, all right, you can skip between this and this because it gets
I think it's interesting. It's interesting to hear, like, people do things and have knowledge and, like outside of just lifting weights. Like, there's a lot of really smart people in the sport, and we're not just a bunch of meatheads.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to hear what people do. All right. Great bubble gum. Might be a little nicer.
Yeah. We're going a little further because I don't know if my nose could take 3 more.
You can smell to your
Oh, now I can.
capacity.
Before it was like, no, you need to get closer.
At least a few for real.
At least a few
Usually for
real.
lifting, you'll be a little further away.
What the-
But Zach, your coach, told you that you couldn't be a bitch about it. So the first few had to be.
Yeah.
Wait. I haven't even asked a question yet. I'm too excited. All right, fun question. If you won $50 million tomorrow, if you woke up and money was no longer an object in your life, A, what would you buy first? And how would your life change, if at all?
Okay. Okay. That was actually decent. That was pretty good. That was the least deadliest one. Grape.
You did like a drive-by.
I know, drive-by. If I had $50 million, man, one, I'd quit my job. Sorry, I love you. My coworkers watch my YouTube. If you see this, I'm sorry.
I would absolutely keep working for it.
I would, yeah. But the first thing I'd buy, honestly, I'd go back home to Vegas and buy my grandma a house because that's what, like, no one that I know in my family owns a house. And I think that it'd be nice, to have a house just because she's never had her own house. So, yeah, I'd buy my grandma a house, and then after that, I bought myself a house.
Duh.
We're getting everybody houses.
You get a house. The Oprah of houses.
Yeah. But no, I'd want to venture into something that I truly want to do. Like, I love my job. It pays the bills. And because of that, I'm not going to quit it. I'm not quitting, I promise. But I'd want to go and do things that I've always wanted to do, but I didn't because it wasn't going to get me there to where I wanted to be financially stable-wise. And, like, I wanted to be a social worker, you know. I wanted to, like, even today I was like, dang, I really would like to work in a senior home and, like, be the senior activity director. Like,
oh, cool.
That's stuff that really, I don't know, it sounds fun. Like, that sounds like a really fun career. Like, yeah, we're going to take you all to the casino today. Like, I'd be the most
so
funnest activity director
You'd
ever.
be like the crowd favorite. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so I think I would do that. Mental health is a really big thing in my family, and I feel like that is something that that I want to get back to for sure. Just because it is something that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I do something with mental health, either whether that be like a in-home residence. I don't know. I've always had like this thing of like, since I was a kid, like I wanted my own daycare or I wanted like my own senior home or like something where you like can put people together that are unhappy in the world and like put them together or like not taken care of and put them in a place where they are taken care of. And I think
I like
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but, yeah,
that's cool. I like that. Cool. All right, moving on to the steel bottles. All right, if you could design a perfect contest for yourself, 6 events that you believe no one in the world could ever beat you at.
Oh, that's hard.
What would the events be, and who do you think would be on podium with you?
Okay. This is not me trying to be humble, okay? But I don't think that there's 6 events that I'm truly the best at in the world for me
You don't
to
have
win
to be
it.
the best at all of them. You just have to win the contest.
What did you said? All right. I mean, it's obvious. Some stone to shoulder. Let's do an Atlas stone and a natural stone. But the Atlas stone is you gotta load it over something or load it to something. And the natural stone is the shoulder. So there's 2 stone events. Then there would be a sandbag over shoulders.
That's the same event. Next that one. That's the same event. That's cheating.
All right. Something like some type of medley. Actually, I'd do the timber trial again. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I'd do something like that. Just because I'm apparently decent at it. The Jack Carry stones. This is going to be an all-stone event, actually. So the Jack, those like Denny stones. Viking press, because I think those are fun. And I think I'm pretty decent at Viking press. pretty good, actually.
One more.
I mean, you gotta have a deadlift in there.
Or squat.
No, let's do a deadlift. Not that my squat's trash, but my deadlift is definitely higher than my squat.
What deadlift variation? Just like a standard straight bar deadlift?
Yeah.
Max or reps?
Reps. I think I have more of a fighting chance with reps, for sure.
Cool. And with those events, who's on podium with you?
Who's on podium with me? Sorry, not Andrea, and I want her to be. No, I love Andrea.
Like with these events specifically, though.
With these events, I mean, I gotta give it to Olga. Olga's like fucking Olga. She's gonna be there no matter what. Mm. So damn you, Olga, you'll be there. I mean, these are really good events for Nets too.
Yeah.
Me and her would freaking be going at it pretty tough.
It'd be a fun show.
It would be a fun show. So I'm gonna go exactly with the podium we had at Arnold, but hopefully I'd be hoping to be number one in that.
Yeah, except with you at the top.
Yeah. Olga right there in a second. Olga's always there. She will be there.
She's always there. She's always around. All right, we got the minty one. All right.
This is okay.
So this one's just unscented, and then we got mint frost. Quick question: what type of competitor do you want to be remembered as? Dude, everyone goes back for a double of that one. I don't know why.
It's because you don't get it on the first whip, and you're like, oh.
It's like a delayed response.
Yeah, definitely got a baby one. But anyways.
Cheater.
What competitor? I'd be wanting known as a competitor. Like, I like being competitive. Don't get me wrong. Like, people, it may not seem like I'm not competitive, like, but I do like being competitive. On the stage. Off the stage, I don't want to be nasty. On the stage, yeah, fuck you. You know, and you can say fuck me too. Like, yeah, let's go and give it our all and let the best woman win. But off the stage, like, let's leave that on the stage. So I think, at the end of the day, I just want to be the competitor that I cheer everybody on.
Yeah.
I think that's just, you know, like, at the end of the day, with women's sports, like, if one woman wins, we all win. I think that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're all in this together. Yeah. We all have the same goal. All right. So for the last one, we actually have a couple questions, but they're going to be rapid fire questions. So they're quick, like one word. I just want your first response, no explanation. Okay.
Okay.
So we're ending with my favorite one, root beer. So after I read the first question, go ahead and take a sniff, and then we'll just go through them quick. Okay. We got 5. If you had to eat the same meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It would be a bento plate.
All right. If you were famous for something other than Strongman, what would it be?
Am I perfect? Oh.
Quick.
We need to do this again. Hold on.
Going back for more? Do it again. Been converted. Speed sniff for me.
Fast.
You mean fast? Okay. If you could trade lives with someone for a day, who would it be?
Michael Jackson.
What's your number one PR song?
Alive Michael Jackson.
All right, Alive Michael Jackson. All right, PR song.
Count Me Out by Kendrick Lamar.
And what's your biggest fear?
Not achieving anything in life.
All right, you're done. You made it. You're only a little bit weepy.
Man.
How do you feel?
I feel like it got easier the further we came down.
Well,
and maybe I took.
You went in really aggressively with the first step.
Well, because you said that I had to go in that aggressively.
I think when you don't know what to expect, that's when it's a trap, because you'll like full send.
All right, I need to redo one of my question and answers though.
Okay.
As a competitor, what would I want to be known for after or whatever is someone who just loved the freaking sport and who loved the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's cool.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. You took it like a champ.
Yeah.
AJ is not familiar with smelling salts. It was like a first like immersive experience into smelling salt. So feeling okay?
Yeah, I need to blow my nose. I think I got some loose nose hairs in there.
Nice. Just burn them right off.
Yeah.
All right. So to wrap up, where can people find you? Where's the best place to find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Angelica.Jardine_Strongwoman, or YouTube, which is the same. Angelica Jardine.
Cool. We'll make sure that those are down below. Of course, thanks to Zone for supplying all the smelling salts. Check them out. If you buy anything, make sure to use my code Murray10. It'll save you some money. It'll help me out in my Strongman career. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when there's new episodes. We're going to be shooting for every Monday. So thanks for being here for episode 2.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
How long was that?
That was